So, my name is Coach Brian Pirana. I'm excited to have you today. Who am I? I have been doing this nutrition, health, fitness, lifestyle coaching for the last 20 years. I have an exercise nutrition degree. I've been as a personal trainer. I've owned gyms. I've been doing remote nutrition and health coaching for the last 10 years. So I literally talk to people every day, help them understand how to lose weight, improve digestion, help deal with chronic illness. I have a lot of diabetics, people who've had heart attacks, PCOS, the list goes on. Cancer, I've worked with cancer. I've worked with people who are trying to perform better. A gentleman just finished a 24-hour mountain bike race. This past summer, I worked with Sofia Renioso, a two-time Olympian. We worked together not only just in Tokyo, but Paris as well. So bring a significant amount of context. So I love having the chat open. It looks like the Q&A is open. Now, please put in your Q&A as we go. For me to be able to see it, I actually have to break out of the actual presentation view, so I'm not going to do that until the end, but please post them in the question answer, and I will get to them at the end. So if you have questions, I'll have answers. I like participants. It just makes it way more fun for participation, so please engage, share as we go. There are some chat times, so I might jump out of the Q&A around those chat times to answer questions as well. Let's share my screen. So I have an audio recording here as well, so you might not be able to see it. It's okay. I will talk through everything. Welcome. We're talking about eating well to be well, a guide to a simple and nutritious lifestyle. We want to focus on healthy living, healthy eating, and putting good, wholesome food, especially in this season ahead. We just wrapped up with Halloween. I may have had one or two more candy bars than I should have, but I have balanced it out with lots of lean proteins, tons of vegetables, and yes, I brushed my teeth too, so that I didn't get any cavities from all the sugar, candy, and stuff. But we have Thanksgiving coming up, Christmas, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, so a lot of fun adventure. We have all sorts of different things that are going to be showing up around that time with food and fun and holiday cheer. We don't want it to derail your health goals either. So today's agenda is we're going an overview of what eating healthy is, food recommendations, healthy lifestyle tips, and nourishing your mindset. How do we think differently about this? So the overview of what we're doing here. Our dietary guidelines, the good old USDA, is healthy eating follows these concepts. Of course, we want fruits, lots and lots of vegetables, whole grains, fat-free, low-fat dairy products. The reason we want lots of colors in our food, we want the more colors you have, the more vitamins, the more minerals, the healthier you're going to be. Put that and eliminate or significantly reduce potential for illness and disease that's coming up too as our weather changes. More cold and sniffles and coughs start showing up, and if you're always having plentiful colors in your food, then we are off to the races. We're going to be lean, low-fat protein sources, lean meats, chicken, turkey, fish, other like a plant-based source like beans or lentils. We do eggs. Nuts are another plant-based source. It's a fat source, a healthy fat source, but it does have some protein in it. Then we're definitely want to just reduce saturated fats, eliminate trans fat. That is a man-made fat. You do not want to eat that. It's not really present anymore like it may have been in the past. We want to keep cholesterol levels down. Fatty fried foods we want to avoid as much as we can. Sodium, there's sodium in everything. It's a preservative of food, of course, But then there's added sodium for taste, flavor, things like that. And of course, there's lots of added sugar these days because it tastes good. And that's why it gets added to your food. What are some of the benefits? Of course, we all know this. It boosts immune response. You're giving your body a fighting chance to combat the viruses, bacteria, and coughs and sniffles that are coming ahead of us here. I hope none of you in the room here have already gotten a cold and have been blowing your nose a little bit or cough in your mouth. So it's going to protect our body against diseases. It's going to have that higher barrier of entry in a sense and have more antibodies and white blood cells and just more capacity, and it won't be in an immune compromised state. Eating healthy, of course, contributes to a healthy body weight. The more whole foods you eat, the lower the calorie intake usually is, and then that aligns with just managing your body weight. When we have processed foods is where there's some sort of a machine process added to it. Then we have a culinary additive added of like sugar, sodium, fats, things that have been like pressed or grinded. And then we get into refined or even ultra processed foods. And those are the foods that are hyper palatable, super easy to eat, high calorie, and aren't that filling. Go to a convenience store, gas station, you're going to get a lot of those ultra processed foods. There's like 50,000 calories sitting in a gas station or more probably, and it's all primarily around like sugar and sodium and not much else. Of course, if you're eating healthier, you are going to have a lot less brain fog, a lot more mental clarity, and be able to be more productive, thoughtful, and focused, which is really important in today's world. There's constant distractions and disruptions happening every single day here. And then we assist with proper digestion. Having whole foods is going to promote a ton of intake of having foods like soluble, insoluble fibers. Think of soluble, it gets into like a gooey, sublimey, mushy type of a substance in your digestion. Insoluble fibers are going to be, they're not going to be broken down. It's kind of going to move through you and help give structure to your stool. So there's combinations of having lots of vitamins and minerals found in the fruits, vegetables, healthy starchy carbs, healthy fats are going to help improve your digestion, improve elimination and bowel movements, and more regularity. If you're having plumbing a little too fast or a little too slow, it most likely is something that you're eating that is causing it, or a lack of what you're not eating. I work with people all the time with digestion issues, and as soon as we get them eating more fruits, vegetables, and drinking more water and moving more, in general, it starts to clear up. It's like magic. They feel better. I had a gentleman we had a call yesterday. He's down 15 pounds. In the last 6 weeks, he's mostly solid most of the time, whereas before he was always looking for a bathroom. That's not really fun. Okay, where are we going? And the second question is, where's the bathroom? If you're living like that and operating like that, your social life is stressful. Right? You can't go out without wondering if there might be an incident or something. Nobody wants that, to have to stress about that. What are some of the effects of poor nutrition? Well, on our body, obesity. Unfortunately, we're seeing obesity and overweight and chronic disease and blood pressure and diabetes and cholesterol issues climb. I see it in my practice every day. More people are showing up on my door with type 2 diabetes in the last 3 to 5 years than they ever have back when I first started in 2004. It wasn't that big of a thing that people had type 2 diabetes. It seems like it's significantly more prevalent, where people's A1Cs are higher than 5.5. That's one of the known metrics that we look at in blood panels to help diagnose if you are normal, pre-diabetic, or even type 2 diabetic. Now, if you're type 1 diabetic, your body doesn't produce insulin, and that's its own other thing, and you actually need to be really mindful of your carbohydrates and managing insulin units and such. But you'd know that. And yes, you can get type 1 as an adult, but more often than not, type 2 diabetes is an environmental thing. Sure, it can have some genetics. You might be more predispositioned, but more often than not, anyone that I talk to, it's a food, health, nutrition, lifestyle type issue that causes them to get it. And this is just purely from talking to thousands of people in the last 20 years. So what happens with our mind? We have depression, we have anxiety, we have stress, we've got poor concentration, fatigue. You're easily distracted, you're disrupted, you're dysregulated, you're jumping from one task to another. Things are hard to manage, navigate, and think through. Stress builds up. You say the tea kettle boils over more frequently, causing just more disruption in your everyday life. Anxiety, there's constant pressure, your heart rate just feels this undertone like you're always getting called to the principal's office. Your energy is low and you don't understand why. It's because there's all these pressing challenges that are coming up from just poor nutrition and not eating a balanced diet. Hopefully we'll help figure that out here. So what are some good food recommendations to do this? Of course, we've got these guys. We're not really going to follow the food pyramid or anything like that, but these are the 5 groups that are going to fuel you. Lean protein sources, lots of vegetables, plenty of fruit, whole grains, and healthy fats. Again, the more colors, the more variety, the better. To manage your body weight, you do not need to just eat unhealthy food. You don't need to eat. I see someone posted a Q&A, so I'll get to that at our first checkpoint. If you want to post some more, that'd be fabulous. So proteins, chicken, fish, ground turkey, what else is there? There's eggs, there's a lot of different sources that way. Even dairy can be really good protein sources. Soy is a protein source. Edamame, tempeh, seitan can be more plant-based protein sources. And of course, we talked about the beans and lentils, more of a plant-based one. Vegetables, I think of these as solid toppers, things that are they go on top of it. Broccoli, cucumber, tomato, asparagus, onion, pepper, cauliflower. I think I said broccoli. I love broccoli, so I always say it multiple times. Things like that. You have fruits, of course. You know what a fruit is. Whole grains. These are going to be your whole grain, whole wheat, quinoa, rice. I would even throw some beans and lentils into this category, of more of a starchy carb category in a sense. Yes, you can eat pasta. You just need to portion it out. I have plenty of people eating pasta all the time. Healthy fats. We have the avocado. We have healthy oils, nuts and seeds. Flaxseed, chia seed are super easy to add in to the mix. We had pumpkin seed from the scooping out and the carving of the pumpkins a couple 2 weeks ago. So we have pumpkin seeds that we're eating, sunflower seeds. So here's diving in. So I already gave you a number of examples looking at what's the importance of a protein. It keeps you full, gives us energy, it helps balance out blood sugar levels. Protein doesn't impact blood sugar like carbs do. It helps to build and recover your body. That's really important to keep you strong and physically capable. We have vegetables, going to boost your immune system, lots of vitamins, minerals, blood purification, improving your functioning of your whole body systemically, but also just in individual organs. So we want the body firing on all cylinders. As soon as we have a disease, there's dis-ease in the body and something's not working properly. So our fruits, they're going to help with healing with the vitamins and minerals, the antioxidants, to help with a lot of biological processes in the body. There's a significant amount of things that happen every single day, even every single moment in your body at a molecular, cellular level. Whole grains, so fiber. quinoa and oatmeal and whole wheat sources can have fibers. A lot of other whole grains that will have some healthy fiber in them. They help with regulating your bowel movements, have more regularity. They help keep you full. We have to be conscious that we don't overconsume these, especially with things like butter, sugar, oil, and salt. That's where tricky things come into play. I was just looking this up the other day. A cup of flour is about 500 calories, 450 to 500. A stick of butter is about 800, and a cup of sugar is almost like 700 to 800 calories too. That's when you add those together, they taste really good. And then you bake them and you put more like sugars and sweets and make cookies, then it's dynamite. It tastes so good, but that combination is not great for you. Only very limited amounts of moderation. And if we're having like oatmeal and whole grains, they'll help with lowering your risk of chronic disease. So healthy fats, we went through these, they're mono and poly unsaturated, or where those are the bee's knees in a sense. Those are things that you want to have in your everyday to help with giving your body, your cells, everything, your hormones, good functioning, good ability, have all the ingredients that it needs in a sense to do what it needs to do. Omega-3, 6, and 9 fatty acids help with inflammation in the body, help with your skin, your nails, your hair functions as well. It gets your body to absorb. You have fat soluble vitamins like vitamin A, D, and K. They need fat in the body to break down. So it is important to have those in as well. We do have to be conscious of fat because it does pack a lot of calories and it's easy to overconsume. The example is any oil is roughly about 120 calories. A quarter cup of nuts can be about 100 calories. An ounce of cheese is 100 calories. A whole avocado can be 200, 300 calories depending on the size. So those are things that we want to be very conscious of. Another fish that has lots of really good healthy fat would be salmon. A lot of omega-3s in that to add. Now, of course, we want to limit these type of foods. These are on every street corner in America, basically. So our refined foods, alcohol, sodium, heavy foods, lots of things that have saturated fats or added sugars to them, lots more preservatives in them. Certainly they taste very, very good. And that's the problem. They taste so good that you want to overconsume them and eat too much of them. So we want food to be classified as a lot of different things. We want it to be nourishing. We want it to be like fuel for the body. We want it to have value in our lives and in the world. We want to have it sustainable. We want to have fun with it. We want to have positive emotions and positive environment and situations that you get into, like Halloween or the holiday season. We want food to be enjoyment and not just cause you to gain 8 pounds here in the next two months. Like, that's not fun. That's not using food to its best, and finding that balance of where food is fun to where food is a bit too much. That's the tricky part here in this process. So let's chat. You can hit up the QA box. I'm going to jump into that here real quick. On a scale of 1 to 10, how supportive is your relationship with food? When you think of food, are you on like the low end of fearful, there's guilt, there's shame, there's food regret? 5, you're kind of in the middle. 10, there's no stress. Food is fun, it's enjoyable, it's just part of everyday life. I personally put myself in the 8, 9, 10 category because I've studied food, I've talked about food, I have my own, I understand what food is, I know what is in the food I'm eating, like from a nutrition label standpoint of like calories and macronutrients like protein, carbs, and fats. When I understand that, then I can make better decisions on what I'm eating, how I'm eating, and why I'm eating it in the way here. So let me exit out of here real quick. And then here we go. So I had a Q&A here that showed up as a pre-diabetic that struggles with weight. Actually, I've been prescribed the semaglutides. What is Wellable's opinion on the GLP-1 drug with a healthy diet and depending on that? So to kind of keep this brief, I can't personally take Wellable as a company stance, right? I got to kind of get that out of the way, right? I don't know exactly 100% what Wellable would or wouldn't say in this situation. Now, for me as just a health professional, I've been doing this for a long time. Depending on where you're at in the diabetic range, depending on how much weight you have, depending on how long of an issue it's been, a semaglutide might be an opportunity for you to quickly get out of that situation. When you go to a doctor and you have high cholesterol, you have high blood pressure, you have diabetes, they're going to give you medicine because it solves the situation now. Okay, it helps impact the change in how the body responds immediately. Whereas the doctor knows, I know a long-term healthy lifestyle behavior is going to be what needs to happen, a lifestyle change. But in the intermediate, in the hour or less, or if you're unfortunately getting a doctor that runs people through every 15 minutes because of insurance purposes and policies and procedures and their hands are tied or something, then you might get stuck just getting a pill and then getting a pamphlet. Here's how you should eat a low-fat diet or a low-carb diet or the Mediterranean diet or something like that. So you don't actually get guidance, anything on that. One of the things that I've noticed is that the semaglutides slow down digestion. They cause you to be less hungry. Therefore, you're controlling your calories significantly more and reducing them. And that is a catalyst to help you lose weight. Now, that's just bare basic. I'm not going to jump into the science or anything else behind it. That's what it does. There are side effects to it. There's nausea. There's a lot of other things that happen. Sometimes it stops working. Sometimes there's more potential issues like with any drug that you can take. So you have to have a well-conversated talk with your doctor. You would want to most certainly lose weight and have balanced diet, about working on better understanding, is this drug what I should be taking now, or should I focus on lifestyle change and really hit that hard? I have a lady right now, Kelly's her name, and down in Texas. She actually had the semaglutide for a couple months before I even met her. She worked, and then it turned her stomach upside down, and she had to stop taking. She gained weight back, and now we found a better approach with food and lifestyle changes. She's down like 15 pounds in the last 2 months, and it's tremendous because she's 60 and she's struggled for like 2 decades on her weight. So there's the short answer, so to speak. Yeah. I've been on a Mediterranean diet for a little over 3 months, and I feel great. I love the diet with so many tasty options. I'm down 10 pounds. That's fantastic. When it comes to finding a diet, whether it has a name or not, if someone works with me, we're not doing any named diet. We're going to look for a balanced diet. We're going to look at understanding what nutrition is from the get-go, what's in the food you're eating, better combinations, better preparations, better planning of it, and just going to literally change your lifestyle around how you think about the food that you're putting in your mouth. But having something like a Mediterranean diet, or even if you wanted to fast, intermittent fasting or something, those are just protocols to follow to help you control your calories. Same thing as like keto. If you want to completely avoid carbs, then you can do that, and you can then keep calories down and then end up ultimately losing weight in a sense that way. My issue with that one is that, like, what happens when you start eating carbs again? Like, you don't have a positive relationship with them, and it can be somewhat challenging. So there's that. We got one more, but excellent. Kudos. Stick with it. If you love it and you enjoy the process of what the Mediterranean diet is doing for you, excellent. That's wonderful. Pick healthy food choices. Don't eat too much food. Practice portion control and move. Those are going to be the basic bare bones, along with drinking water, are going to keep you healthy as can be. We have one more. Can you talk about how not all foods are the same? My wife and I order our flour and pasta from Italy because they use truly organic additives versus flour and pasta mass produced in the States. Yes, there's a lot of different processes for how certain companies in certain areas of the world produce certain foods and stuff. So yeah, they might use a different processing. No matter what, with pasta, it's a high calorie, high carbohydrate, low filling food. So you do have to be conscious of portions. And then I'm always encouraging people to then balance it out, having more protein, more vegetables, more higher fiber things paired with it. So then you have that combination of food so you can eat some pasta, whether it's from Italy or not, and enjoy it, but still be healthy and stay successful that way. There are also a lot of other alternative pastas on the market, from chickpea pasta, bean pasta, lentil pasta. There's edamame pasta. There's low carb pastas that are out there with different types of wheat gluten type products in there. We've got the no pastas like spaghetti squash or zucchini noodles, things like that can always be substituted as well to create a different type of a context there. Here we go. I am unable to drink dairy. I drink almond and oat milk with 0 added sugar. Is that okay? 100%. If you have a lactose intolerance of some sort, dairy would not be the thing for you, right? Because you certainly know what happens as it goes through the digestion process. So almond milk in general is 30 calories in a cup. Oat milk is 120 calories in a cup. So it is important to look at the nutrition label so you are informed at how many calories you're consuming in that product. 0 added sugars is most definitely the way to go. They're going to add 15 to 30 more calories potentially in the serving of just sugar. So you'd want to make sure that you just, again, paid attention. But I like oat milk in my coffee here. So I put a little splash in it. I end up, we did some dog fostering. There we go. Fostered the dogs. So we got 2 of the dogs that Olivia and Godzilla were their names. I have 4 kids, and so we had a blast with them for about a month until we gave them back. We got another follow-up. As part of our program, do we have the ability to book a session with you and help us? You certainly can. You could reach through Wellable. BrianPrana.com is my website, and so you can find me at Coach Brian Prana on social medias and stuff. So there's opportunities to do that. But we could just bring it up through a Wellable email. There's one at the end, and we can start a conversation on it and see if I can help you or not. We have another. I love this. You guys are like on it. There's a lot of you in here. This is one of the largest groups that I've had in a long time. So I appreciate the Q&A. I love having the feedback. So we have another one. What do you recommend for opting for healthier food options, whole foods, while still keeping up with a busy life, such as wanting to stay a part of social activities that include eating out or when you're out of town? Excellent idea. So this is just managing food and nutrition in everyday life. I literally talk to people about this every single day. Number one, like I said a little bit ago, was you need to make sure that you understand that food can be a really enjoyable experience. It brings people together, right? We have to eat to live, but we don't need to overconsume with food and leave that situation with too many calories. Like this holiday season, it can be full of holiday cheer, but it doesn't have to be also leaving that situation with 2,000 calories in your stomach. So you have to have a better understanding of what are the social situations that you're going to? What are they serving or what's going to be available? How do you plan and prepare to have success at that individual event? Do you only need to eat maybe twice in a day to help create enough calories and make them available for that dining out experience? That might be a solution to help control calories. Okay. what's available. If you're going to like the Halloween party and you know they're just going to have pizza and bobbing for apples and that nobody ever does, and then candy and stuff, maybe you need to bring along a vegetable tray, as silly as it sounds, but it might be welcomed by some of the other people there, but also secretly it's just for you to make sure that you consume a fair amount of vegetables and not just eat pizza, wings, and candy or something. If you're going out of town, there's always opportunities. Again, you're not eating with someone all the time. Maybe your significant other, but a group of people, generally you aren't necessarily eating every single meal. So you can kind of work around that too, having lower calorie amounts of food at different times to help plan for higher amounts in those eating out, dining, dinner situations. Or look at the menu, order a protein double vegetable. That's always going to be a safe bet. Eat only half of the stuff. So there's a lot of different strategies to help control calories, most importantly, in that situation. So hopefully those are some really good ideas. And it really is like one social activity to another that you're paying attention to. But ultimately, that's where the rubber meets the road. Is you really just have to pay attention and not just like wing it. I've had too many people lose weight on travel, and that's a great thing. I've had too many people maintain weight while travel or through the holidays, and that's a great thing too. If every holiday season you gain 8 pounds and you get through this holiday season and gain 0 pounds, that's a success. I don't care like what you're talking about. Like that's a great success for you to be getting through the time and managing choices and portions and calories one way or another. And I've had a ton of people where they gained weight through a travel experience as well. That it happens. People, humans, right? You get in the moment and you just want to have fun. C'est la vie, right? Here's one more. If you are trying to avoid sugar, what do you recommend that is not bad into your coffee? Well, the first obvious is just using stevia or another artificial sweetener. They're like 200 times sweeter than sugar, so you can use significantly less, and that would be the first easy way to do it. Number 2, you can look at different non-high calorie additives, a splash of oat milk, a splash of almond milk, even just like low-fat milk. You could look at one of the popular, easy things to do is taking a chocolate, vanilla, caramel latte protein shake and putting a splash of that in your coffee. You'd be surprised at the sweetness that adds, but it's adding protein to the coffee and then not sugar or carbs or fats and stuff. So those are different ways to kind of approach that situation with adding that. And you might be surprised. So please don't put like 40 grams of protein powder in your coffee. It's not going to work out the way you want to, okay? Start with a little bit, and I would also tell you to probably get a pre-made liquid shake already. That's a chocolate, like a mocha, vanilla, like a latte would be the safest place to go. And just put a little bit in and drink it, and maybe put a little bit more in until you find that happy medium. It might take you 4 or 8 coffees to find what that perfect ratio is, but that would be the best place to get started, not just put a bunch of powder in hot water. It's not going to work out for you, I promise. Powder and hot liquid don't mix well. And for the love, don't put it in a shaker bottle and start shaking it, because it's going to, hot liquid expands, right? Hot air expands, it's going to explode and make a mess. All right, so we got another one. How can I manage hunger and energy levels during fasting periods? I do a 16-hour fast. Well, it might not be relevant for you to take a 16-hour fast in this situation. Why? Because it's just too long of time to go without food for you. I can never go 16 hours. By 13 hours in, I'm getting pretty hungry. And the longer humans go without food, the more likely, there's a direct relationship here, the more likely they are to making not good decisions. Even if best intentions are there and they pack their lunch to eat at noon, but someone says, hey, I'm going out here. Do you want to join me? And you're like famished and you're like, it's like in the desert without water. You're like, yes, I'm going to go with you because that sounds way better than what I packed. And that just literally might not be a good idea. So you need to evaluate if doing a 16-hour fast is is appropriate for you just because the intermittent fasting protocol is generally 16 hours. Maybe you need to do 12 hours with food and 12 hours without food. And just thinking of it instead of intermittent fasting, you just call it a food window. At this time of the day I eat, and this time of the day I don't. And that can really help you manage that as well. We got someone, Walden Farms is a brand that has sugar-free, dairy-free, gluten-free, even calorie-free types of creamers and dressings and sauces and different things. So you could literally just search low-calorie creamer, low-calorie sweetener for coffees, and you'll find a lot. I like the protein thing. It does make sense. Someone said here, I use the vanilla Premier protein shake in my coffee, and I stopped using milk and sweetener both. I tell you, it is literally pretty tasty. And you can have a lot, you can really spice up or sweeten up or flavor up your coffee beverages. I do it pretty regularly. Last one, then I'm going to jump back in and definitely love this. This is awesome. Love to answer more at the end. Are there any side effects to taking digestive enzymes? In general, no. The digestive enzymes, you usually take them about 20, 30 minutes before you eat. They are there to help the absorption and breakdown of the food, the carbohydrates, proteins, and fats that you eat, and kind of chew them up and not have, say, like gas or bloating. It helps with the digestion process. So if you are having some digestion sensitivities, taking a digestive enzyme 30 minutes before you eat will be a good idea to help process the things along. I had a guy that's dealing with pancreatitis and fatty liver, and if he doesn't take his Creon, is the medicine that's a digestive enzyme, pretty potent one, but it's a prescribed digestive enzyme. If he doesn't take that like 30 minutes before he eats, it's not going to be good for like hours after a disruption in his everyday life. So if he skips those, it's really a bad thing and stuff. So there are, like, some people do literally need to eat them. So let's share and jump back in. I really appreciate all those. We'll get more into at the end. So I hope that most of you are in a good, healthy situation. If you're not, if you feel fearful or guilt or shame or blame around food, you should talk to someone, because you have to eat every day to stay alive. Like, you can't just not eat, and you need to talk to someone about what those feelings are, what are better strategies around managing them, coping with stress or time or lack of knowledge and skill set. Oftentimes in my book, I see so much people just don't know how to operate around food because they've never been taught. And as soon as they are taught and educated, they make better decisions. Like, hey, you never knew how to drive a car, and you might have been scared to drive a car, but as soon as you were shown, and you practiced, and you went through, and you had some experience, and driving a car isn't that big of a deal. Same thing can happen with food as well. All right, healthy lifestyle tips. Let's keep going. Shopping hacks. I love helping people make it efficient, effective, even save money as well. So the first one is obviously going with a shopping list, right? If you don't have a shopping list, then you aren't going to be successful. I've got plenty of resources around how to build meals and shopping lists and different things that I give to my clients to help them make it easier. Now, I've had so many people save $100 the first shopping experience they've had with me because they stop buying the foods they don't need, or they stop overpaying for the foods because something says the word healthy on it. You don't need to do that. It's just not effective. Check your calendar, fridge, and pantry. Okay, so make sure you're just like observing. We have a chalkboard in our kitchen that we can write down when things are low or out. That helps us stay a bit more effective, efficient, not overbuy foods that we have. You don't need 3 shakers of salt, in a sense, sitting in your pantry, or 8 cans of tuna fish if you only eat 2 at a time, and it's like once a week. Shop the perimeter of the store, of course, right? The more that we go around the outside, the healthier it naturally is. The insides are where more of the processed products are, and they're going to generally have higher carbs, higher fats, higher sugar, higher sodium, and can get you in a little more caloric challenge if you're not careful with portion control. Buy in-season fruit, right? If you're buying the stuff in fruit in season, it's just naturally going to be cheaper, and they're not exporting it in or importing it into the day, and that in and of itself could cause more cost or challenge there. Stick to one store. Our store, we shop at Aldi, we shop at Sam's Club occasionally, and those are really it as far as grocery shopping goes. We buy 95% of the food at Aldi's, and we buy, like, say, 5 or 10% of the food at Sam's Club for select items that we are looking for. But you don't have to go to 18 stores. That can be less time effective, efficient, and also maybe not as money saving as well. Next up we have is reading food labels. All right. So with food labels, we want to make sure that you are paying attention to these things. All right. It's really important that you are, like, literally being mindful and looking at this. Now, in our slide here, we're looking at percentage of daily value. Normally that's off a 2,000 calorie diet, as you can see in the bottom of that. Most humans, plus or minus like 200 calories, maybe around there on average. And so that's why it's a 2,000 calorie diet for most human beings. Key things we want to look at: saturated fat being low, and protein being higher than 20%, fiber being higher than 20%. If it's a protein source, we want a lot of protein and less fat. If it's a carbohydrate, unless it's like just a simple carb like rice is a lot of carbs with not a lot of fiber. That's just what rice is. Pasta, the same. So we know we're not going to find a lot of fiber there, but other things like beans and lentils might have more. But we really want to make sure that you look at that added sugar. So if you look on this slide, it says sugars, but then there's an extra one that goes on below it that says added sugar. And that could really mount up to be the majority of the sugar that's been added into the product, not that's naturally occurring. You can eat sugar. It's okay. If someone's tracking calories with me, for women, about 50 grams of sugar or less is a generalized amount that seems to work just fine. Gentlemen, about 75 grams or less. Now, we certainly aren't looking to just have just the white stuff, so to speak, but more of just like whole foods and fruits and stuff. Great. Have it. They have some fiber in them. It's wonderful. Looking at the ingredients list, we're always looking for least amount of ingredients. A classic example is Triscuits versus Wheat Thins. Triscuits have 4 ingredients on them. Wheat Thins have a laundry list of unpronounceable, recognizable words on them. So which cracker should you go toward? I would encourage you to do the Triscuit. The Wheat Thins might taste differently or better, or less wheaty or something like that, but that's because they've been processed and manufactured that way. They're also going to have less fiber in them as well, and generally potentially get more calories per serving. The ingredients, the first 2 or 3 are the most prominent inside that food. So you look at it and it says like a sugar word or a enriched wheat word or something like an oil, you know that that's the majority of what's inside that food item there with the label, and therefore you can then make a better decision. Is this right for me? Cooking healthy meals, it's more about having a process, I find, than if you don't know how to cook, go find a 3-minute YouTube video on how to air fry. Someone who's like, I don't know how to air fry. I'm like, it's really not that hard. You put something in. She's like, I completely blackened and charred my mushrooms. Okay, so what do you do? It's like, I put it in for 10 minutes. I'm like, well, mushrooms are delicate. You should cook those for like 2 or 3 minutes at a time. Open the drawer, shake it, and see what's going on, and put it back in for like 2 or 3 minutes and cook them in those small increments so that you get them done just enough, not just hope and pray that 10 minutes later they're not going to be burned and shriveled up. But there's so many ways to learn how to do it. It took me 90 seconds in a YouTube video once to learn how to grill juicy chicken and steak on the grill. It's incredibly simple. Basically this, you preheat the grill, you get it fired up, you scrape it, 5 minutes on one side, 4 minutes on the other, let it rest for a minute. That's protocol for a juicy meal. Now, certainly you could use a thermometer to help make sure it's at temperature that it should be to be cooked at whatever range, say like a steak, like rare, medium, medium well, in that. And then chicken and turkey obviously need to just be cooked through or you'll get sick. Also, not a single person I ever work with should be eating the same stuff. It shouldn't be boring foods either. It should be enjoyable, exciting, and tasty. So we use spices, herbs, low-calorie dressings, seasonings, sauces, and such that we can add. We can have natural sweeteners like maple syrup, or even like putting cinnamon in your oatmeal can really liven it up, or even cinnamon in your coffee. If you never tried it, what you don't know may or may not kill you. In that situation, you could make an enjoyable alternative to what you've been doing. So you take a cinnamon or pumpkin spice powder with some vanilla protein powder from Premier Protein and put that in your coffee. You could get a mock pumpkin latte type thing going on and not have 200 calories sitting in that drink. That's an easy way to think about it. Certainly want to trim off any visible fat from protein sources. Grilling, baking, steaming, boiling, roasting, easy ways to help with having a lower fat cooking alternative. You do not need to add oil to pans to cook either. That's adding more fat to that dish to get something to not stick. There are so many ways to get stuff not to stick, like cooking on parchment paper, using a cooking spray, or like grilling. You just don't need, or steaming, you just don't need oil. Now, if you do oil versus butter, olive oil would be better. Greek yogurts are fantastic alternatives. You can really find a lot of high protein, low carb, low fat ones on the market. And like we said earlier, veggie pasta as an alternative to pasta if you're trying to be calorie conscious with those carbohydrates. Now, simple ways to prepare your meals. Cook once, eat twice. Every time that you prepare food, you should be making more for another time. I eat a lot of leftovers in my family. I have 4 kids. Oldest is teenager, and 3 middle schools, 3 boys and a girl. There's always massive amounts of food getting cooked and made, and there's always leftovers. So that is a crux of my daily strategy. I find what's in the fridge. I pair it with a protein, some vegetables, a starch, season it, cook it in a way it literally takes less than 5 minutes for me to have the majority of the food I ever eat outside of my actual doing preparation, right? I'm going to cook 10 chicken breasts instead of 2 as an example. I'm going to cook multiple cups of beans so I can make that stretch over multiple meals as a starchy carb source. So prepare versatile staples. Rice, beans, potatoes can be very versatile as starchy carbs would be put with a lot of things. Even cooking chicken plain and season it before you eat it, you could do lemon pepper, Italian herb, you can do hot sauce, you can do chili lime. There's lots of ways that you can do chicken and have it available, and that's because you just grilled like 10 chicken breasts and you created different options. Having one-pot meals, what we got there is like Instant Pot. You can do Google search, high protein, low carb, low fat, one-pot meal. It's going to give you a lot. It's the keywords that we use to search the healthier options to make meals in an Instant Pot or a crock pot. My wife has become exceptionally well at doing this with 4 kids, so we have a lot of things cooked in an Instant Pot throughout the week. Dedicate certain days to certain meals. Taco Tuesday. You could always have tacos on Tuesday, or nachos or burritos or enchiladas or, those type of things, a bean dip thing on every Tuesday, you could rotate through that. And if you have certain meals, like fish is always on Thursday, then okay, we're going to have salmon, we're going to have tuna, we're going to have swordfish, we're going to have halibut, we're going to have tilapia. You can create some variety there. Having a prep day, you do need to pause and stop. It's not either you're buying something to make it more convenient or you're cooking your own food in bulk to make it more convenient. I always say that the people who cook their own food are going to be way more successful at balancing out their calories and all and managing their body weight. So that's really important. Know what you need. So again, just being planned out a little better on the front end. If we're dining out, this goes into that question earlier. We're looking at the menu in advance. Protein, double vegetable always works. Look at each meal as an ingredient label. You just really want to pay attention to how many calories are in this. If it doesn't have calories on the menu, you could look to a similar chain. I'm going to this Italian place. Well, let's just look at Olive Garden to give us at least a ballpark understanding of what might be in there. You make small changes, dressing on the side, no butter, no oil, grilled, not fried, salad instead of fries. Easy ways to cut out 200, 300, 400 calories. Just eating half of something will get you down to about 500, 600 calories. So have a go-to portion or a lunch portion or just split it with someone to help manage that. So practical nutritional trips. How do we practice these things? Prioritize eating foods high in nutritional value to crowd out the foods low in nutrients. So having lots of volume of vegetables and fruit is going to help keep candy chips and high calorie foods out. Balance blood sugar levels by adding protein and fiber to your meals. Protein source, fibrous carb source like fruit and vegetables will help keep your blood sugar levels stable and not just have you eating too much carbs and fats, because that's what 99% of people that ever have weight issues are doing. They're eating too many calories, too many carbs, too many fats, and they're not moving enough, and they're not drinking enough water, and they probably aren't sleeping enough. Those are the basic things that happen. Support gut health by having lots of chewing, having prebiotics, onions and garlic, and good healthy foods. Your digestion is going to be at ease, and it's going to have better gut biome, the bacteria in there, so that you can process food a lot better. Now, we also want to look at, reducing stress, and we need to make sure that we have coping mechanisms. If you get stressed out and you go straight to food, that's a problem. You're going to have challenges. So deep breathing, journaling, getting up, getting out of the situation to move your body is incredibly helpful. Creative habits, reasonable goals for you, talking to someone can be all things to help. As we start wrapping up here, as we get to the top of the hour, mindsets. So earning and burning. So if you have this mindset of I eat to I have to burn calories to be able to eat more or something, or I always have to use exercise to help manage my body weight, you're going to run into an issue at some point because you might get hurt and not be able to move the whole time. All or nothing mentality, I run into this all the time. I call it middle gear. Let's find a balance between this all or nothing. You're going to be more sustainable and more successful forever. I'll start again on Monday. Hey, good job. It's only Wednesday today, so you have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to have a wild, fun time. But you're also just slowing down the process of actually changing. So you can always start over at the next meal to balance things out for yourself. One undertone I always have with clients is setting reasonable expectations. If someone comes to me losing weight, 1 to 2 pounds is sustainable. 3 is amazing. 4 or more, we're overreaching. So if you're always trying to swing for the fences and have 4 pounds a week every week or more, you're at unreasonable expectations for your body, and it's likely that you're not going to stick to the plan and have longer term problems because the weight will come back. certainly we need to listen to our body. We can't push it and push it and push it. It will break on you and it'll stop functioning. So we have to be conscious of that. Expect to fall off. I always joke with people like, I already know you're not going to be perfect, so let's stop trying. It just makes this whole process easier. We know, like, I am not perfect, and I do this for a living. So how do I find balance, moderation, flexibility inside this process? Be kind to yourself. Have grace. Don't be punishing yourself. It's really not great. Maintaining a mindset. So eat the cookie. If you do want to have like a cookie or ice cream because you're going out, then eat some. Just don't eat 800 calories of it. You can have a cookie and move on and easily fit that into your day. Create a mantra. So something you can, like a short phrase you can stamp and stand by. I live a healthy lifestyle and choose foods with value. That's a really kind of corporate style type one, but I want to fuel my body. I don't want to just eat just because. Making small changes. With clients, I always focus on 2 habits a week. So 2 habits. Usually walking and water are the first ones that people do. They move more, they drink more water, and then they start paying attention to their calorie intake. So these all build big-term, long-term momentum in the process and really create success. So some conclusions here. National guidelines recommend and emphasize eating protein, vegetables, fruits, whole grains, healthy fats, limiting saturated fats and trans fats, and definitely eliminating cholesterol, sodium, and added sugars as much as possible. Having adequate nutrition can promote optimal physical and mental health, so you're literally going to feel better. Healthy lifestyle choices, and just like logic sometimes can make it a lot easier to grocery shop, cooking, dining out, reducing stress, and finding a supportive mindset of like a middle gear approach is going to allow you to be long-term successful. So wrapping up, biggest takeaway, hit the Q&A box. I'd love to hear it. I want to thank you. Here are some opportunity for questions in the Q&A, and here is the email. So you can comment below. I really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much. As we've gone, let's see if there's any other things in the Q&A box. So we have one is, I have gastroparesis. What can I take to help promote digestion? Well, digestive enzymes could definitely help. Heavily cooking down your food could definitely help. Definitely making sure you don't eat food triggers that don't help and actually challenge the situation more. We don't want food to, like, if food sits in your digestive tract too long, then it like ferments and causes excess bloating and diverticulitis and all sorts of other health issues. So drinking lots of fluid. Those are some easy, short, quick answers. Another question here, what is a good resource to determine in-season produce? I shop pretty healthy, but find that doing so makes my grocery bills quite high. Yes, well, one, you got to learn the grocery store, learn the sales, buy things only when they are on sale, buy stuff in fresh, frozen, or canned variations to keep the grocery bill down. You don't have to buy the brand name. There's a lot of different ways to find grocery shopping hacks to be able to allow you to get out of there without it being, you don't have to buy all organic. I have a family of 6. I'm not buying organic. That's going to triple my grocery bill. I will be okay. So those are some easy ways to go through grocery shopping. Look at the grocery sales, weekly advertisements on what's available. So you just always shop in sales, and then you build your list around it. Again, you could always go to YouTube and literally search, how do I lower my grocery bill? And you're going to be able to find a significant amount of tips and tricks on how to do it. If you watch 5 of those videos, you're going to start to see overlapping content that you're like, oh, I've heard this before. Okay, so this must be something I really should be doing and paying attention to make the shopping experience better for myself. So I really appreciate your time today. We're at the top of the hour. I know you're time to go. Thank you so much. Have a